Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. This is the second part of our Hunt for Revenue October series. This webinar is titled The Secret to Exponential Growth in Q4 2022 and Beyond. And we're super excited to have a very special guest with us today. My name is Jeff Grice with Veloxi, I'm Senior Account Director. And today we have a very special guest from Vast Networks, Mr. Frank Ortiz. Frank, would you mind introducing yourself?
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. My name is Frank Ortiz. I'm the Regional Sales Manager for Vast Networks. We're a fiber ISP in California.
Very good. Super excited to have you today, Frank. Frank's been a leader for revenue teams, both small and large, across many different verticals, and excited to have him here as our guest today. So today we're here to talk about how to accelerate revenue, not only in this quarter, but heading into 2022 so we can build momentum. We want to give you some very strategic ways to go about doing that so we can help you guys get there quicker. And today, we are going to talk about some different strategies with a tool that Veloxi provides. So Veloxi is a Salesforce integration. It's a mobile app, but it's actually a 3-in-1 as well. So it lives in your inbox, it lives in a web portal, but it's also a mobile app. So it's a sync with Salesforce. It's been approved, certified and verified by Salesforce, and that tool is helping a lot of organizations accelerate revenue. So today we're going to talk with Frank about that. And Frank, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us, what's your role exactly and what industry do you work in?
Yeah, so I'm a Regional Sales Manager. The industry that we're in is telecommunications. So we provide dedicated symmetrical fiber voice over IP products to the California footprint from Southern California all the way up to Northern California.
Very good. Now, when you first found Veloxi, what about it stood out to you the most when you first came across it?
Probably the ease of use and the integration with Salesforce. That was kind of primarily what I was looking for when I was looking for a solution. And when I came across Veloxi, there were some others that we were looking at, but the ease of use and how simply it integrated with Salesforce stood out for us in our decision-making process.
Gotcha. Okay. And then how does it fit into the work that you guys actually do? I mean, what does it do for you on a daily basis? It's a loaded question, I know.
Everything. Veloxi is it's the center of our entire sales process. It's what we do to pretty much in our day-to-day, from the calls that we have to make, to tracking, to being able to timely communicate with our customers. It's really everything that we do. Reporting, everything revolves around Veloxi.
Got it. Very good. So when you guys decided to get started with the tool, was there a specific problem that you guys were trying to solve or a job that you guys were trying to get done at the onset?
Absolutely. The main thing that we were trying to do is we had low adoption with Salesforce, and for us, we define low adoption as nobody was using it. So we had a problem. We had already made an investment, and it was, for us, it wasn't even an order entry type of program. At the other company that I used it at, it was an order entry reasoning that people used Salesforce. Here we had no order reason to use it. So it was something that the data wasn't accurate. The data was, not timely. So that was our main thing. We had low adoption, and we really wanted to eliminate. I personally wanted to eliminate duplicative steps in the sales process as far as reporting of funnels and sales and things of that nature.
I see. And then if we could take a step back, like what were you using at Vast before Veloxi, and what did you guys have to do to actually do the activity logging on a daily basis, and why did you start looking for something new?
So when you don't have a system, you default back to Excel. The real is most sales professionals have some type of Excel spreadsheet with their tracking, their forecast, their commissions. We all do it. So that's what we really were dealing with at that point, was top 10 list. Here's what I'm working on this month. Give me your Excel. I'll take it, put it in my Excel so that I can sit down and talk to my boss about what we're actually going to sell. So it was a lot of Excel.
A lot of Excel. And yeah, I hear a lot of that myself too. So what's the
Absolutely.
number one thing that made you confident that this tool was gonna put you guys in the right position, that it was the right solution for Vast and your team?
I think it came down to adoption. When we introduced Veloxi, there was minimal hesitation. One, because they didn't really have a system. Two, they were open to the systems that we were putting in place. Then they saw it. And I think that was the first sign. But what kind of ingrained it and kind of gave us that we're on the right track is when they started immediately sharing how they were using it with their teammates. So the following day, there was some interactions about, did you know it did this, and how this is how I'm using it for this, and can you believe it did this? When those conversations started happening, we knew we were on the right track and that this was going to give us the return on our investment. Absolutely.
Awesome. That's nice when you hear those things coming from the field, right? Like, those wow moments and things that you weren't expecting. That's always a plus.
Oh yeah, and the real is, and I'll sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. The pause is, everybody means well in the sales organization, absolutely. But the reality is what the sales professional has to go through on a daily basis, because of the other responsibilities that leadership has, there's always that disconnect. And I think Veloxi kind of positioned itself as the way to connect both what leadership wants as well as what the field is needed. And that's kind of where the marriage really happens.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. And it's important to have the whole team rowing in the same direction, right? As far as expectation, Absolutely. Goals, objectives, et cetera. So now that you've been using Veloxi, what's kind of like the one thing that you're able to do that you weren't able to do before, aside from the spreadsheets, if you will?
Yeah, no, complete visibility through the sales process. I think we talked a little bit when we were talking last week. One of the most important things is the sales professionals just want to wake up in the morning and worry about what the next call is, what the next step is, who the next prospect is. And unfortunately, because the organization needs visibility to how to produce, how to support the teams in certain areas, unfortunately, sometimes reporting, activity, how am I going to get caught up, entering into Salesforce, those become the thoughts that some professionals are thinking about, and it distracts them from truly selling. So having visibility allows me to have better conversations when we do have one-on-ones, because it's not about where you at, what's your funnel look like. I know, they know. So let's talk about how we get that next deal or how we can get into more deals. And so the visibility and streamlining the process has been, really important to us and really the big benefit that we've seen.
Got it. Very good. So I'm curious, tell us what you know now, right, about Veloxi that you didn't know or understand, I guess, at the very first when you got started, and that if you had known when you first got started, that maybe you would have started sooner. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I can tell you there's two right off the bat. The first one is the geo mapping, the geo capabilities, the ability to go out in the field, design an area that you want to target and prospect, and be able to have some information about that account. The 360 view is fantastic. Before you walk in that door, you can find out a little bit about that company. I had a weird situation happen with Veloxi, and this is a great example. We were getting ready to walk into a customer meeting. And so I pulled up Veloxi and we did the 360 view of the person that we were meeting inside of that company. And they had just made a recent post on a social media platform that Veloxi picked up. And we integrated that post into the conversation, and they looked at me and they said, I just posted that before this meeting. Like, how did you know that? It was weird for a second because they're like, hey, are you stalking me?
Right.
But it did give us that ability to, and then the entry of the prospects using the geo mapping tool, 75% of the time was just eliminated. The days of people going back home with a stack of cards. I mean, obviously, it's been 18 months since people probably have had a stack of cards. But still, the connections that we make, you don't have to go back and spend 2 hours data entering. You do it on the fly from business to business. So when you're done with your day, you're literally done with your day. It's all in there and ready for you tomorrow or the next day whenever you put the follow-up activity in. So that's the first one. And the second one is the Outlook plugin, which if you voted, that's probably the #1 thing that people love, right? Because nobody does the read receipts anymore. It's kind of awkward. And so having the right time to follow up with a prospect, or even more important, knowing when they read their emails, when the best time to contact them. Some people are late people, some people are early people, some people are midday. And if you really go back and look at the notifications on when they opened it, it really helps you reduce the 3 or 4 calls to get that person to maybe just 1 call, because you know when they're looking at things. So those are the 2 things we probably would have gone bigger on. We knew they existed, but we didn't know how impactful they were.
Okay, that's awesome. And yeah, nothing like having intel in real time, right? Especially as you're walking into a big meeting or having that customer interaction. That's got to be really powerful.
Yeah, there is one caveat for those of us that are new to sales, because I'm sure there's all levels on this call. Do not open up your conversation with a customer that says, "Hey, I just noticed you opened up my email." You know, you have to use your, "Hey, I was just following up. I just wanted to see how things were going. I wanted to know what that's good, but I just noticed you opened up your email." Is not a good one. Not recommended.
Yeah, no, it's a good call out, and definitely be tactical and smooth about it, right?
Absolutely.
So what impact did Veloxi have on your pipeline for your commercial team at VAST? So a little background for the audience here today. VAST originally started in education and in the government sectors, correct, Frank?
Absolutely.
And then you've since grown the commercial space, which you've led successfully. So what impact did Veloxi have specifically on the commercial sector for you guys for your pipe?
Absolutely. So I'll just paint it in broad pictures here. Our entire pipeline with the existing team that you know I joined was under 100,000. That was all we had line of sight to. Some of that was because they weren't putting it in, but others that was the process. Not having Veloxi just didn't allow them to do that. Today our funnel is over $750,000. So in 18 months we've grown a funnel from 100K to 750,000.
That's tremendous. So pipeline impact and revenue impact obviously together, and then so that's awesome. And I'm sure your team's probably varied too, like a lot of others, you know, across the B2B landscape. So what type of people would benefit most from a tool like Veloxi, in your opinion?
So I think, you know, some tools benefit some segments better than others. This tool can benefit all 3 phases. And I kind of break it up into 3 phases. You have your new hires. You have the people that have been around and they've been performing near quota, a little bit below, a little bit above. And then you have your top performers. And typically the top performers are the ones, because I've dealt with a lot of them. They're the ones that my system's not broke, right? So I don't need to fix it. And then that's where the challenge comes in. So let me address the new hires. Somebody starting new in sales, you don't have any bad habits. You don't know any other way. So using Veloxi in your sales will absolutely give you that edge to grow faster than you would with offline spreadsheets, looking at funnels, entering it manually, not having the ability. It just sets you up for the right foundation, because from the beginning to the end, and I've looked at this product, been using this product now for over 5 years. This product covers every entire step of the process. There is no gaps. From being able to remind you who to call, when to call, giving visibility to your leadership so that you're reporting up so that we know that we're getting things covered, being able to easily communicate with your clients in the field or at your desktop via email, web, cell phones, knowing who's calling, right? Because if they're in Salesforce and that phone rings, you don't have to go, "Who is this?" Right? It says, "Hey, this is probably your $10,000 customer. Do you want to answer it?" Right? To the follow-up, to the geo mapping, to the email templates as you get advanced, to drip email marketing campaigns. So there's the scope. If you're new, you want to start with this tool because it'll set you up for success. Obviously, the element of you have to be good is always in there. So full disclosure, this doesn't make you a super salesperson. The middle are the ones that sometimes get managed the most, Jeff, to be honest,
Yep.
because they're the ones that have been here for a little bit, and they get the references of if you keep working hard, you can be like X person, right?
Right.
How do we get you to X person? So if you're a manager, the new hires are usually in a program. The top performers usually just check in and tell you they're going to sell $1 million. So
Right.
what do you have left to manage if you're a manager or a leader, right? I don't like the word manager. It's the middle.
Right.
So this tool helps them sharpen their game, give the reporting so that they can focus on the things that'll take them to the next level. The top performers, there's always one or two things that they want to get better. They're always looking for that edge. And there's some nuggets in here in Veloxi, and I won't give them all up, right? Because I want people to check for themselves.
Right.
There are some nuggets in here that top performers will absolutely are absolutely taking and absolutely crushing it with. Because I have a few on my team that are very good at their profession, and they still use Veloxi for a few things. They use it every day for what we do, but there's a couple nuggets in there that they use that absolutely has leveled up their game.
Yeah. I love that, especially the way you framed it up with beginners or established and then kind of top performers, right? If you think of them like those three buckets, and especially like you said, the established that are kind of in that middle bucket, if you will, to have a tool to be able to help them level up, or maybe they're just trying to figure out how to get up there just a little bit, right, to that next level. And then to your point, the top performers, they're always looking for that edge so they can be the top 1%, the top 3%, whatever it is they're trying to accomplish, right, to keep everyone else kind of at bay. So great way to describe that. Thank you. And then another question is, how has adoption been from the very beginning, right, the onset of using Veloxi, and then to today? Because I know you probably didn't have 100% adoption right out of the gate, and there's a lot of different pieces to it, like you said, with the inbox plugin, the mobile app, and then the web portal. So like, how was the adoption at the beginning versus now?
Okay. So for us, it was easy. I know both sides of the house, right? I know an organization that's been established with a process. And then I am establishing the process. So adoption of the tool was easy. We had 100% adoption from day one. This is what we're going to use. And they said, we don't have anything else. We love it. So that's the first part. We have 100% adoption. We have probably 75 to 85% adoption on all the functionality of Veloxi today. So beyond just using it for forecasting, reporting, moving them through the stages, telling it's closed won, the Outlook plugin, the geo mapping, the ability to research a customer, all of those functions that are available, of all the functions that are available, we're about 75% adoption on all of the tools.
Wow, that's impressive, because there's a lot of different features and functions within the platform, correct? So for the audience members, there's actually up to 30 plus different features within Salesforce that Veloxi unlocks for you through the integration. So that's awesome. I guess one thing, audience, I want to leave you guys with, we talked with a lot of different things. Frank, I appreciate all your insights here. Is kind of what we talk about, the 5 A's, if you will. And one of them is attention. Veloxi allows you, a tool like Veloxi allows you to grab the attention of not only your prospects and your clients, but also the attention of your sellers, like Frank alluded to, because it's allowing them to streamline their processes and take some of the friction out of some of that manual work. It allows them to take action, whether you're at home and maybe it's late at night and you're watching one of the Major League Baseball ball games here, but getting closer to the World Series, and something's top of mind and you want to kick an email out, you can do it via mobile with the Veloxi mobile app. Or maybe someone's coming inbound to you, like Frank mentioned, and someone's calling you late, maybe from a different time zone or just late period, and you notice it's a live opportunity you have from an actual op. You'll see that with the business caller ID through Veloxi. Another A is analytics. Frank talked about the email analytics and how powerful that is to not only have the ability to send templates, but also to test messaging, right? To see if your message is actually resonating with your audience. You can do A/B testing through the platform. And then attainment. We're all in sales. We have a quota. We have numbers to hit. So how do we attain our quota? How do we make sure that we're calling on the right accounts, the right time, the right message? So Veloxi helps with attainment. And the last piece is accountability. So self-accountability. How do I be accountable to my own daily metrics to make sure I'm getting to where I need to be to create more conversations, create more opportunities, drive revenue, but also be accountable leveling up. So for example, Frank, your team is accountable to you. So this helps them do that as well.
Yep.
Any
Absolutely.
insight you'd like to provide with any of those that I just mentioned?
Well, I mean, I think one of the things, not to get too much into the sand, but one of the biggest things that is part of the sales process, but I've seen people struggle with, is the follow-up. And I think we didn't get too far into the AI functionality, but one of the best things is I get them all the time. And matter of fact, when we're done with this meeting, my phone is going to ring and it's going to go, how did your meeting with Jeff Grice go? What do you want to do next? When you make a call, when you have a meeting, when you put something in, the AI portion will tell you, I think, what do you want to do with this next call? And in a couple buttons, you've already gone to the next stage. Some of the notifications, because we're human, it'll be like, you haven't talked to this person in 2 weeks. They were in your prospect list. Do you want to call them? That is invaluable. So there's the little AI functions, and they're not little, they're pretty powerful,
right,
that help move things along and just automate the process. So updating your pipeline, keeping the information doesn't become such a burden, doesn't become such a weight. It's so easy on your mobile phone. It allows you to have freedom and the flexibility that you talked about. You can do it from anywhere. So those are the only two things that I'd kind of just add on to that.
Yeah, no, it's a great way to round it out. And I should have mentioned that at the onset, that Veloxi truly does act as a virtual assistant, right? So we probably all ask ourselves as sellers, I wish there was a way to duplicate myself. So there's two of me doing the same thing, right? Because we all want more time. So Veloxi is a virtual assistant that can help nudge you and help you along the way as far as the follow-ups. It's great. So at this time, I want to open it up to questions. We wanted to keep this pretty tight. We know we're all hustling here to make our number here in the fourth quarter. But if there are any questions, please feel free to send those off in the chat box right now, and we can answer those for you live. If not, we'll get this recording out to everyone. Just as a heads up as well, a free trial of Veloxi is available if you go to veloxi.io/free trial, or you can simply just download it from the App Store, either through Apple or the Google Play Store. Search Veloxi Salesforce CRM, and you'll find it there. It's a free download. So I'm just checking here to see if anyone has any questions. We'll also get some merch out to the winner of today's raffle for that piece as well, because it's baseball season and we appreciate you all being with us here today. And we'll get a piece of autographed MLB merchandise out to one lucky registrant today. So thank you for being here. All right, looks like everyone's itching to get back to making more calls, so we'll let them do that. Frankie, thank you so much for being with us here today. We really appreciate your time.
No, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
That's right. All right, good luck as you guys go to make your number.